Welcome everyone to the fourthest episode of the Caravan Tour of Terror, where we tour the globe through the medium of horrific, chilling and disturbing entertainment. My name's Donald and I'm the driver on this quest. Joining me at my side as always with a road atlas on his lap is my navigator Ali. Say hello, Ali.
Hello, Ali.
We are at the Wild Boar Wood campsite south of London. We could probably see London from where we are, but around us is relaxing forest, campfires, stars above our heads when it's nighttime. It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's not true. That's not true. The stars are always there, but we can only see them at night. So I've already fucked it all up. Yeah, unfortunately.
And also, it's the middle of the day, so no one can see stars at the moment anyway.
Yes, it's middle of the day. Also, can we keep a low profile, actually? We should probably talk a bit quieter, because this is actually for glampers, aka the enemy. We're not actually here in an official capacity, so just keep quiet.
Yeah, we've had to add some tinsel to our caravan to blend in here.
Your knowledge of glampers and why they're the enemy is poor. Why are we here? We're just south of London because the city and the countryside surrounding us is the setting for the rollicking 1968 Hammer horror movie The Devil Rides Out, also known as
The Devil's Bride, and it certainly rollicks.
It does rollicks. Why was it called The Devil's Bride? Because The Devil Rides Out sounds like a western, and I agree, it's a fucking weird title, I'd say.
I don't think The Devil's Bride is much better.
No, they're both poor. Yes.
Yeah.
Ali.
Yeah.
Tell us about The Devil Rides Out.
The Devil Rides Out is a 1968 Hammer horror movie starring Christopher Lee as Nicholas Duc de Richelieu. Him and his friend Rex Van Ryn, they come back from to the south of England, London.
Where we are,
funnily enough.
Just say here.
Here. They arrive here in this very caravan. They come back to London in 1929 to check in on a friend of theirs who they knew his father, and they've been friends with him for many, many years.
Yeah, they're friends, even though, I mean, their age gaps are really ranging. Like, Rex is kind of in the middle, but, I mean, Christopher Lee looks decades older. But, they're all friends. It's quite sweet, really.
Yeah, no, it is. It's, let's just point out, they are all grown men.
Oh, very grown men, yep.
So Simon is having a party that they drop in on.
Just to check up on him.
Yeah, just to check up on him. They've not
the first time they've seen him, isn't it?
It's
and it happens
first time they've seen him.
Yeah, it happens to coincide with this party he's having.
Yeah, it's the first time they've seen him since their return. So Simon starts acting very strange and very put off by their presence here at this party. And Christopher Lee, using his Christopher Lee detective skills, quickly establishes that this is a cult meeting, a devil worshipping meeting of some sort. That this is something nefarious is going on.
Yeah, he overhears things, and he states he's kind of an expert in these matters pretty quickly. He's he's quite James Bondy.
We will get into that. We will get into Christopher Lee's knowledge of things in this movie.
It's quite cool because he decides something fishy's going on, so he just wanders over to a candlestick, lights a cigar with the candle, and then just wanders around eavesdropping in conversations, looking like he owns the place. It's pretty badass.
Lighting. I mean, he is clearly a rich man in this movie.
He's a jerk.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is, but he wanders over to a candle and lights a cigar off that. This man has a lighter. I want to make that abundantly clear. So Simon asks the two of them to leave.
Yeah, they're not members of the club. It's the kind of thing he says.
Yeah, I feel so bad. And he starts escorting him out, and Christopher Lee goes, actually, I'm going to go upstairs for a bit. Honestly, 2 seconds.
I want to see the view from your observatory.
Yeah, I want to see your observatory. It looks cool. I'm in and out. It's the way he does it is so like.
Yeah, you can't say no to him.
It is a really masterful the way he manages to do it. At which point, they go up to the observatory, look around, and we have our first dramatic moment where Christopher Lee pulls open a cupboard and the dramatic music hits and we get a shaky view of chickens. Chickens! And he goes, I knew it!
Yeah.
I knew
evidence
it!
of Satanism.
Yeah, I totally understood what it was getting at, but I was like, couldn't it just, I don't know, couldn't it just put like an upside down cross in there?
No reputable man has hens in his cupboard.
It's just the chickens. These are devil worshipping chickens.
Meanwhile, Rex, his friend, is just kind of
he is a super.
Just,
he is super skeptic. He is like
he just kind of got a bemused expression on his face and just kind of following along, like, what are you
quite
doing
rightly.
now, Nicholas?
I'm not gonna lie. If I was friends with Nicholas, I'd be like, I'm used to this guy.
Can I say also, just quickly, that because of Christopher Lee's facial hair, I immediately thought he was evil until he started actually figuring stuff out.
Yeah,
he's got
totally.
a really satanic-looking facial hair going on.
There was a part of me this entire movie through that was like, he's gonna be the bad guy in the end. So yeah, no, I totally had that. It's just Christopher Lee's look in 1968.
Very intense.
That's one word for it. So Nicholas deduces that Simon is doing cult shit.
Yep.
And they, this is ridiculous. You never need to do this. Could not do this ever, ever. And it is, as you said, he actually brings up, I've never brought up our age difference before. And I'm only going to. Nicholas is a man that throws down like blood oaths on at the drop of a hat. The number of times he literally begs people, or I have never done this before, but I have to do it now. And he says about the age difference, but trust me, this is not something you want to get into.
Yeah, I'm more experienced and stuff.
I'm older. Yeah, which I liked that line. I liked that. And Simon's like, nah, can you get out? So, in very 1968 fashion, they struggle for a moment, and then with one punch, Rex knocks Simon out.
Yeah, they like the one punch knockout in this film. It's not the only time it happens, I'm sure.
It's 1960. It's honestly, it's
Boom!
1968.
And then he's out for an indeterminate amount of plot time.
If it was a woman, he would have backhanded her and she would have swooned. It's that.
Does Simon not get knocked out more than once, I think?
Simon gets knocked out every 20 minutes.
Anytime it's an inconvenience.
They only had him for a few days. So Rex knocks out Simon and they carry him downstairs. Honestly, Christopher Lee was a big dude. Like, he really was. Like, he was a very slim man.
Yeah.
But he was a very towering figure.
Yeah.
And so is Rex, Leon Green.
Yeah.
They are very, very tall men. And Simon is not. He's probably about my height.
It just emphasizes the naivety. So, that works.
Yeah. It's what else helps emphasize the naivety is that they carry him downstairs like a baby. No, come on. Getting yourself all muddled up with black magic. So they carry him outside and they
take him back to Nicholas's, don't they?
Yes, they take him to Nicholas's. The cult notice this and all run out and
yeah.
There's a lot of people in this movie credited as Satanist.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of movie. So they take him back to Nicholas's where they hypnotize Simon
with a mirror. Yeah, really weird, but yeah, it's pretty weird. Well, it just shows that Nicholas has some weird, knowledge and power of his own kind of thing.
So yeah, they pop him on the couch, and Nicholas and Rex sit down, and and Nicholas says that Rex is quite, I'd say quite rightfully so, skeptical about all this, And Christopher Lee sits down and stares him in the eyes and goes, "Everything you know and everything you don't know about black magic and the devil is real." And I was thinking, going, yeah, if that man sat me down and told me that, I'd probably believe him quite quickly. And Rex does. He gives him the benefit of the doubt. He's not, he's not like, cool, I'm super on board, but he's like, all right.
It is
I might be
funny
in over my head.
It is funny to me how Rex could be friends with him and this didn't come up, because it really seems like Nicholas knows a lot about this shit. I mean, it gets even
and will
more
not shut up about it.
I mean, he's kind of like a warlock in his own right, and I guess they were just drinking buddies. Didn't really talk about the, in-depth shit like feelings and Satanism.
Yeah, they were badminton partners. You're not going to talk about this shit.
No. In 1968 in Britain, no.
Yeah, exactly. Nicholas, why do you have a pentagram weaved into your badminton racket? Oh, never mind, we have to serve. So they hypnotize Simon. They put a cross made of, I don't know, silver?
It looks like a silver cross, yeah.
Yeah. Round his neck and pop him in bed. And that's, movie's over. We were I was so pleased. It was so Simon wakes up and starts in a quite a graphic scene.
It's pretty gross actually.
So he basically tries to first rip off the cross, but then just starts twisting it. And twisting it to start choking himself. And
his eyes start watering and
and his face turns purple. Like
pretty sure he's just doing that.
It's a really good moment, honestly.
But then it looks like he kind of snaps out of it. But it's almost like he's not he's being controlled somehow and he's fighting against it.
So Nicholas's butler comes in and sees this and removes the cross from Simon's neck.
Yeah.
And
he just he runs to the Duke and he goes, "Oh, sir."
Yeah, he goes, "Oh, sir, I took
like,
this off."
"Why did you take that thing?"
Yeah.
"It was going to kill him, sir."
Yeah. You weren't to know.
And he literally says something like that. He's like, it's not your fault.
Yeah. As Simon escapes, Nicholas and Rex take chase and go to Simon's house, where they break in and split up once they're inside. And it's really odd because Rex goes, "We should split up." And Christopher goes, No. And he goes, "No, we should probably split up." Rex goes up the stairs. Christopher Lee walks around the corner and then peeks up the stairs and then follows him up the stairs. But they go back up to the observatory where they get a lead on a woman named Tanith, who Christopher Lee mentions that name is, has a kind of... They all have a rebirth name when they get inducted into this cult.
Yeah, it's some kind of goddess, isn't it?
So he says that Tanith is a kind of, is at least steeped in this lore. Yeah. So it must be her rebirth name, her cult name, essentially. And as they try to leave, we have our first demon appearance, and it is
terrifying.
There is an unsettlingness to it.
It is unsettling.
I would say. Yeah, that I was. It's the eyes more than anything, because it is essentially an overweight, like black or Indian man. It looks.
It's a black guy,
but he has these like yellowish, reddish eyes. And Christopher Lee says not to look into the eyes, and Rex looks into the eyes. And he's just staring. Yeah.
Do you know that black actor's name?
I don't.
Willie Payne. Come on, you gotta love it, eh?
Pretty good name.
Willie Payne. He does cut a really unsettling. It's like it's a smile, but it's kind of like aggressive. It's hard to.
Yeah, a grimace.
Yeah.
And it is, it's 1968. It's set in 1929. The moment this guy came on screen, and he is shirtless.
Yeah.
I had the same thought as you did.
Whoa!
No. But no,
It's fine. It's fine.
I thought it was actually one of the better done horror moments in this. It was like, it is unsettling for what it needs to be.
It's still got goofy effects around it, like when he appears and disappears, but it's well acted and stuff, so I think they get away with it. And it's not
totally.
It's not problematic, which I think is the better thing.
Yeah, oh no, totally. So Rex is getting drawn in by this demon, and I think Christopher Lee just throws something at it.
Yeah, it throws the silver cross at it, and it just goes.
At which point he just goes, run!
Yeah, they just fucking leg it.
And they just fucking leg it. And the thing I noticed in like the next conversation or two is that Nicholas keeps turning to Rex and going, and you know what that means. He doesn't, Nicholas. He made it explicitly clear at the start of this. He has no idea what's going on.
It really is Sherlock and Dr. Watson kind of relationship where Rex really is just the muscle. And just the kind of sounding board for the viewer. He absolutely doesn't contribute in terms of like knowledge of anything. It's all
absolutely
Nicholas has to basically tell him what to do most of the time. I mean, he does later on. He does stuff, but yeah, he really reminded me of Dr. Watson. In fact, I mean, Nicholas is just fucking. Anyway, we'll get on to later. Nicholas is Sherlock Holmes and James Bond together. Bond. Yeah, Sherlock Bond.
Because James Holmes lives down the street from me. They get the lead on Tanith, and they split up at this point. Rex goes to find Tanith and just kidnaps her, / ask her to lunch.
That driving scene is some of the worst back screen projection or whatever you call it. That, that hokey car with a thing traveling behind it. It's done so terribly in this film because it's clear that it's not like they cut from Rex's face to her face in the car, and it's like the same angle of the background. It doesn't move. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
it's terrible. It's really bad. I don't know if it's bad for the time or if it's just what they had to work with for the time, but it's shockingly terrible.
Yeah, it's not great.
Oh, I should also say that when the cars appeared, like in this driving scenes, is when I was like, oh, this probably is set earlier than 1968 because it's
it was when the cars appeared.
I don't know, like they're rich guys in suits. Do you know what I mean? And then Rex is driving an old timey car, and I'm like, maybe it's just got an old timey car. But then where they pull up has an old timey car, and I'm like, okay, it's probably the olden days, I guess.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing. I'm like, this movie, like, just on face value, this movie must be set in 1968. This is what rich people are like.
Yeah.
These cars are looking
I don't fucking know what
old.
1968 was like for the upper class in England. Could easily have been that. It probably was.
Yeah.
It's just
it probably still is.
Drove newer cars. Or older cars. What's more of a status symbol?
So yeah, it is the weirdest kidnapping / invitation to lunch I've ever seen in my life.
Rex is pretty dishy. He's a bit of a beefcake.
He is a bit of a beefcake. His voice isn't, apparently.
Yeah.
We'll get onto that later. She says no. She says that she doesn't want to go for lunch with him, and then he starts interrogating her a little bit, and she says that, there's a leader of the group called Mokata.
Yeah.
Mokata. And as Rex starts pressing her more and more about Mokata, she tries to jump from the car. The moving car.
She sees Mokata's eyes, doesn't she?
Yes, she sees it. Yeah. She sees his eyes.
Mesmerizing eyes.
In the mirror of like, you better not fucking do anything. I'm watching. And the voiceover is kind of that like, I see everything and I know what's happening. And so she tries to jump from a moving car, and he, in a very 1960s fashion, just grabs her arm and goes, let's have none of that. So he kidnaps her and takes her to friends of theirs, Nicholas's and his.
The Eatons.
The Eatons with their young daughter Peggy.
Peggy Eaton, yeah.
And like a moron,
Yeah.
Rex gets out of the car and
Jumps
goes
straight
over. Literally, the moment he parks up, he jumps straight out and walks over and hugs.
Does he turn? I don't think he turns the car off.
No.
He just jumps straight out.
He thinks it's a good idea to leave the woman that tried to jump from a moving vehicle alone in your car with the keys. So no guesses what happens. Next, she drives the fuck off and Rex steals the Eaton's car.
Yeah. I need to borrow your car. See you later.
Bye.
Now, the car chase that ensues, some of it looks pretty good because it's just a camera behind the person driving, the car, and then they're skidding about and stuff, but then it's interspersed with the terrible back projection, and there's a moment where they both drive through a puddle and it's clearly just chucked a bucket of water at the actors to come outside.
Are you forgetting the best bit where he punches a hole through his windscreen?
Oh, that bit is brilliant. Yeah.
The one thing I actually did like about really like about that scene is after he punches the windscreen out, his eyes start getting watery because of the wind.
Yeah. Such a random detail to keep in. Yeah, because Makata makes his entire windscreen opaque, so he just punches a little fist-sized hole in it. It doesn't. It's just a little fist-sized hole. The whole thing doesn't go or anything.
No. It was clear, it might as well have been a star shape that burst out of it, in perfect. Makata then conjures a magic fog, causing Rex to crash. So he's now basically,
completely destroying the car he just borrowed through his own ignorance, stupidity.
Yeah.
A car which I don't know if it's ever mentioned again.
No,
I don't think it is.
Probably not.
Sorry about your car, old boy.
You'll have one of Nicholas's, one of his many. At the party at the beginning, they're introduced. Nicholas and Rex are introduced to a few people, including the most boss-eyed countess I've ever seen in my life.
How dare you, sir?
She's so boss-eyed.
We're going to get letters of complaint.
What, from Gwen Francon Davis?
From the IT crowd, Boss-Eyed Society, or whatever it was called.
Oh, yeah. She's so boss-eyed. So the reason I mentioned that is as Rex is hoofing it either to continuing to chase Tanith or back home.
Yeah.
She just randomly appears out of nowhere and tries to run him over, screaming. And then we cut to ceremony. Luckily, she then turns into a graveyard, which is where she was going apparently. So I don't know if she knew that it was him or she's just a psychopath that likes to run.
But basically, I mean, Makata thought it was a good idea to make Rex crash right at the last second, where he's basically where they were driving to anyway. So he just manages to catch up to all the Satanists and all their classic cars. And at this point, I was very confident that actually it's set in olden times. I did also Google cars of 1968 to be 100%, and they do look a lot more modern than these. They don't have the hand cranks on the front and stuff.
So they drive into the middle of the forest to have their cult meeting, and Rex spies on this. And my thought was, why would you put the most of your congregation in white and have your leaders in hot pink and purple? And I mean hot pink and purple. Like, it is...
They're lurid.
Yeah.
I think that's a thing of the time to kind of, because, I mean, color film was still cool. still. So I honestly think they want to give really bright, cool color, awesome colors.
Hold the phone.
What?
When was color film?
No, but I mean, I think at this point they still had rival color techniques and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I suppose tricolor and technicolor.
Yeah. It's the 60s version of CGI special effects. Just purple robes. Whoa!
No, we will get to the 60s version of CGI special effects. Oh, we will get to it.
Yeah.
And it is the first appearance of Mokata in full, played by Charles Gray. For those of you who don't know him, he is Blofeld.
Yeah.
Particularly the Blofeld in Diamonds Are Forever.
This is before Christopher Lee's Scaramanga as well, isn't it? I think so.
I think
The Man
so.
with the Golden Gun. I think that was after, yeah.
Yeah. At the ceremony, they get to summon in Baphomet.
Well, they kill a goat first. And it's pretty disgusting because the blood really squirts out. But
it's
red,
also
slightly thin.
Yeah, it's also the most fake blood I've ever seen in my life.
That was just the style of the time. And then Rex runs away to the nearest phone box, which apparently isn't that far away.
Yeah, 1928, there's a phone box nearby.
And calls up Nicholas, who hotfoots it over. Hotfoots over in his car.
Yeah,
hot tires it over.
Yeah, just drives over. And we have the crazy ceremony. They bring Baphomet to life. And do you know what Baphomet's scared of? Do you know what Baphomet's scared of, Donald? Cars and lights.
No, see, that bit's pretty cool.
One of the things I found weirdest about the ceremony / celebration of at the cult, the music that plays gets quieter away from the cult. When it cuts to Rex, the music's quieter. There's no one playing instruments, and it's clearly the soundtrack. But it gets quieter whenever it cuts away from them.
I think the whole thing is as close to opening of Blade style blood-soaked dance party cum orgy that you could get to in 1968, which is basically people bouncing around. There's
and
very
laughing,
little blood.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like a very jolly cult celebration. So Baphomet is summoned.
The goat of Mendes,
the goat of
as Christopher Lee says.
It's Baphomet.
It's the goat of Mendes.
And Christopher Lee knows exactly what to do with him. Attack him with cars.
Yeah, so Satan himself in his shirtless buff glory is just kind of watching the party happen. And it's a pretty goofy costume, but I thought it was pretty cool that they went as far. I bet it was pretty shocking for audiences in this time period to actually have, Satan turn up at a party.
I was going to say that. We are like maybe half hour into this movie and Satan's already here.
Yeah, definitely slightly less than halfway, I'm sure. And yeah, Satan's just turned up and is like, oh, Christ.
He's only there for 5 minutes.
I mean, if I was a Satanist, I feel pretty proud. I mean, I'm assuming it's like if I had a birthday party and Drake turned up nowadays. Like, getting the actual goat to... What?
Oh, I thought you meant watching... If you were a Satanist watching this movie, I was like, I don't think they'd be proud.
No, if I was throwing this little shindig and I got the goat to turn up...
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And I don't mean the greatest of all time, but to say
I mean, yeah, he is the goat.
The two-time goat himself. Yeah, so they deal with that. I mean, I was like, what the hell are they going to do? And they bring it.
Yeah, they summon Satan. Well, to be fair, they've got demons.
No, I meant how...
as security. So why would you not expect them to summon Satan?
I meant how Nicholas and Rex deal with it, and I fucking love this.
They get in a car and they fucking just like...
So Rex is on the side holding the crucifix. Nicholas is driving, muttering a psalm under his breath. And they just balls of brass go straight up for him.
Drive all
of them.
Yeah, all of them.
Straight into the maelstrom. Rex throws a crucifix right at Satan, who bursts.
Yeah, who's just like, fuck this about. Peace.
Even a vampire doesn't burst.
Yeah.
And then the punches start flying.
Yep, so they get Simon and they get Tanith and they get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, Tanith, it's really weird because they go to the trouble of saying, oh, Tanith is a satanic thing, so she's already had her birthing ceremony. And then it turns out, oh, no, actually, she's having her birthing ceremony with Simon, and Tanith is just her name.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Convoluted.
Christopher Lee doesn't take a lot of credit for that one. He was ready to like throw her to the wastes.
Yeah.
And he doesn't so much as do a, my bad. Oops. So they grab Tanith and they grab Simon, and Rex, punching people off the side of their slow-moving car.
Left and right. Makata gets punched. Just
Makata
everyone.
does, yeah.
One punch KOs left and right.
Yeah. He is the GOAT. And they fuck off to Christopher Lee's niece's house, which is the Eatons.
Yeah, the Eatons, yeah.
So, I think this,
right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It took me a minute, because you don't get a good look at the Eatons. I think it was when Peggy arrived, the second, after they come back.
This is the same
people. Because
house.
literally, he jumps out this car, and you're like, all right, who the fuck are these people? Because he's like, I'm going to lunch with some friends. You don't know these people are going to be important to the story. And then she fucks off in the car, and he steals the car, and I didn't think they were going to show up again. And it turns out that is Nicholas's niece and nephew-in-law? I don't know how that works.
I guess.
Yeah. And I've got to say, this poor bastard.
Who?
The nephew-in-law.
What, having to go along with crazy Uncle Nicholas?
Basically. Crazy Uncle Nicholas. Crazy Uncle Nicholas's pal just showed up and stole my car.
Yep.
And then showed
Didn't
up
come
again.
back with it.
Didn't come back with it. Came back with two random people and her uncle.
Yep.
And...
We're staying, and also we're in mortal danger.
Yeah,
and so are you. We should really have gone back to Nicholas's.
And the niece is like, yeah, right.
To be fair, was there any reason for them to travel back to the Eatons? Because they were in a car. They could have just
maybe the Eatons was closer.
But just keep driving is what I mean.
No, they had to be out of London. I don't know if Nicholas's was in London, but they had to be out of London. I have no idea why they had to be out of London, but they kept saying we cannot be in London. It's probably because it's...
Go to Stranraer then.
Yeah, no.
Go to another place that doesn't have your family
there.
there.
The only options are London or just outside of London. Yeah.
Oh dear.
It's probably because it was too expensive to film in London.
I mean, they had... Yeah.
Yeah.
They had basically... Yeah.
So they go, they make it a point, and I really don't know why, that they cannot go back to London. So they drive to Marie and Richard's with daughter Peggy.
The
Eatons. And they sit down, and Christopher Lee basically does the same spiel he did to Rex at the beginning.
Yeah.
And... they once again, so they set Rex with Tanith. She goes to bed, and
he kissing her, kind of, or like touching her up a little bit.
Yeah, he's very
lovingly.
Yeah. It's the whole
Hey, she reciprocates, but it's still a bit like she's just been in some kind of traumatic situation.
I don't know if she actually doesn't reciprocate at this point. She because he's like goes to kiss her, and she's like no, and he does grabs her face and turns it back. That romantic move from the 60s. And they don't really do anything, and he just kind of creeps, because he literally walks into a room, she's under the covers, and he's just glowering over her. It's horrible.
Yeah. And he just stays there.
It's nice.
Watching her.
And then they set Richard up with Simon and say, do not leave him for an instant.
Yeah. Is this the point where Nicholas says, I've got to go now?
Yeah. Nicholas does this.
Say why.
Yeah. So this is not the first time he does this in the movie.
I've got business to attend
and
to.
This is why I kept. This is why I kept thinking he was the bad guy. He just every now and again would be like, "I've got shit to do. Bye."
Yeah. And literally, as he drives away, Makata's there watching for him to drive away, and then Makata drives up.
Yeah.
Literally the same minute.
And Makata comes in and asks if Simon and Tanith are there,
Yeah, but
he has this conversation with Marie, and
but Marie's wise to it because she knows that.
Yeah, Marie's.
Nicholas said if Mr. Makata shows up, he is not to be trusted.
Yeah, so she basically, rebuffs all of his attempts at getting information and getting these people, and then he begins to intimidate her.
He mesmerizes her, really.
Well, yeah,
or are you getting onto that?
Yeah, I am getting onto that. But he does start like just by intimidating.
Yeah, a little bit of sinisterness. Yeah,
a little bit. Man, it's the close up of his face and like
that is really good.
With the eyebrow that just like there are. This movie, and we will talk more about this later. This movie is pretty schlocky.
Oh yeah.
There are a few moments where absolute stellar acting comes out. One of them is Christopher Lee talking to Rex at the beginning. Like it's more on the side of schlock, that one.
Yeah.
But it is a very well done speech. Yeah. With a lot of gravitas and really adds a lot of weight to the movie. It kind of keeps you going for the next wee bit. And this was the next bit where, this scene is excellent. Like, Charles Gray absolutely, I don't know what he thought he was getting into, but he went in with both hands with this role and fucking, like, he is intimidating.
He is. His eyes are very weird, and he does it very well. And then he just like leans forward and says, "Where is Simon?" It is very good.
Yeah, he has very piercing eyes, and he doesn't move his face except for one eyebrow twitch whenever he's talking, and it just is. It is a stellar speech.
Yeah, it's really good.
So then, he continues on, and seeing that he's not getting anywhere, starts to mesmerize her. And it is only not only does he mesmerize her, Simon wakes up and starts strangling Richard.
Yeah,
and Tanith wakes up and grabs a knife and is about to stab Rex. Just by sheer luck, the servant boy, butler?
No, it's Peggy, I think.
Oh, it is Peggy. Yeah.
Peggy runs in.
Yeah, Peggy bursts in the door. Oh, fucking kids, man.
Everyone's trying to kill everyone.
Yeah. Oh, mama, what's happening? And that breaks the trance.
Yeah, and then Marie calls for little Butler Jenkins or whatever.
Yeah, and then he's like, she says, "Get out," and he's like, "I'm leaving."
Yeah, the butler's a bit of a badass. He's like, he just comes in, she's like, "Get him out," and he's ready to throw down.
Yeah, and he's like half the size of Charles Gray, and he's like, "Come on!"
He doesn't even question it. Yeah. He just starts walking towards it.
He buttles well. So Makata leaves, and everyone comes out of their trances. Tanith, horrified, and I don't want to hurt anyone. Just
I nearly murdered the love of my life.
Yeah, gets out. Yeah, gets out this apparently well guarded house full of people with no issue whatsoever. And can I just say, Rex is the worst guard ever. He just falls asleep.
Yeah.
And doesn't know. I'm pretty sure if someone was standing
they
over
were
me
up
with a
all
knife,
night, literally banishing Satan. He's allowed to rest.
Not when he's still got shit to do. But anyway, he Rex eventually wakes up and gets the hell out, chasing after Tanith. And in true 60s style, wrestling her.
Oh yeah. He's a bit grabby.
Rex is very grabby.
He's a real man. A man's man. I don't know what that means either.
He's gay.
Well, yeah.
So Tanith is like, I can't stay here. I don't want to hurt anyone. Let's go somewhere else. And Rex is like, well, okay, I'll come with you.
My love.
my love. My one and only. So we cut back to the house. Nicholas comes back. And it's funny because Richard bursts out the room being like, he tried to strangle me and then he just went back to sleep. And I was like, but you were told not to leave him. Why did you run out here? Call for the butler, ring a bell. But Nicholas comes back and he's like, we're all in mortal danger. And then it cuts to the most disturbing shot of the whole movie, and it's just Tanith tied up in a barn,
sweaty
with
and writhing,
and looking like, and Rex looking like he's
intense.
But the look. What I got from it was that he was like, "I'm so sorry, I've done this. I'm a monster."
Yeah, it's either extreme concern or deep horniness. That's the two options I got out of it.
It's not nice.
Nice.
And then it just cuts back for a wee minute, just for another wee second of Nicholas and Marie, and then we cut back, and it's he pulls the gag out of her mouth, and it turns out that this is consensual.
Yeah.
This is consensual.
Noted.
And kicking Mokata is kind of like kicking a drug habit.
Yeah.
So she's trying to essentially get it out of her system, it stops her from hurting anyone else or hurting herself. And they're just going to do this in this barn. And then we go back to Nicholas and family in the house where Nicholas has made a protective circle. Because the weird part is that, like, it's just got random. Is it Latin on it?
I don't know exactly what it is written around it. It's just names of stuff. I bet it's names of demons or saints or something.
And Rex is very easily overtaken by the powers of Tanith / Mokata, I suppose. When she just stares at him, and then he unties her and then falls asleep.
Yeah,
it's a really weird scene. She literally just stares at him and then sleep.
And then the circle is basically the setting for the most of the rest of the film.
No, we've got
I suppose there's
two
one
locations.
More location.
We've got two more locations.
This is kind of like the climax for me, but then I am wrong in saying that. I understand, but it's the climax of my enjoyment of the film. I'll say that.
So over the next 15 minutes, we play a fun game of Don't Break the Circle.
Yeah.
Which is basically just Satan, Mokata, demons, bad,
evil.
Yeah, evil is trying to get them to break the circle by doing things like, there's someone at the door, or this water's disgusting, I'm thirsty, and especially for the more skeptical Richard. It's where Nicholas pulls out again. I've never begged you for anything.
And I'll only ask this of you once in our lives.
Yeah, and Richard,
Richard,
to his credit, does go, I mean, it's a pretty cheap trick, but I'll do it. And then we have my favourite scene, which is where Peggy bursts in the room.
Yep. And there's a giant spider in the room.
There is a quote-unquote giant spider.
It's terrible.
It's amazing. So it's either like is it rotoscoped or superimposed?
Superimposed.
Blue screened onto the
very poorly.
when other people are on screen, other people are not on screen, they have built a tiny set for a real tarantula, and it is the most adorable thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh, it is meant to be terrifying, and it is honestly. They've made tiny candles and tiny doors. And
do you know what's really strange? Like, I was watching The Hound of the Baskervilles, which is a Hammer movie with Peter Cushing in it, and Christopher Lee, and it's good. And at the start of that, there's also a tarantula scene, and it's like portrayed as ultimate. Oh my god! Like Christopher Lee's like, get it off me, and then they smash it to bits. But tarantulas back in '60s Britain must have been like the most exotic, horrible, terrible sights ever to behold.
I think we often, I honestly think we do often forget how quickly, and I'm aware this is a tangent, things like that rapidly progressed. Like, we forget that the things were exotic back in the 60s. There was fruit that was exotic back in the 60s, whereas we were like kiwi fruit's a normal thing you would get in your supermarket. So I do kind of know what you mean by that. Like, I think those kind of things were seen as more
It was a cultural thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Symbols of horror, the tarantula.
But
I mean, Home Alone was the last time.
That was used as fear, and that was,
Yeah.
you literally had to place it on Joe Pesci's face.
No, it was the other guy.
Oh, yeah.
Can't remember his name now.
not Howard
You'll
Stern.
remember. You'll remember it. Go on. You're going to get there. You're going to get there. You're going to get there.
It is Stern.
You're going to get there.
It is Stern.
He's Googling it. It's being Googled. Daniel Stern.
Daniel Stern.
Yes! I got there without Google. I win.
You.
Yes.
Yeah, tarantulas, man. But yeah, in 2020, that scene plays as absolutely adorable.
I mean, the bigger question of this scene that kind of puts in question the whole plan is they've got the four of them in a protective circle to ward off evil, but they've decided to put Peggy with the butler in another room entirely.
Yeah, I found that weird as well.
And the only reason they do that is so that a vision of Peggy can come in and do really terrible acting against a superimposed tarantula so that Christopher Lee can make her disappear and then melt the tarantula.
Yeah. They didn't have enough justification, apparently, for putting Peggy and the butler in there. So they're playing, I don't know, bridge in the other room. And so, in one last attempt to get them to leave the circle, the Angel of Death shows up.
Yeah.
Did he have wings or did the horse have wings?
There was fabric-looking wings. It's
very fabric-looking wings.
Yeah, they don't. It doesn't even look slightly real. It is just like costume bat wings.
So the Angel of Death appears. And
Rider on a horse.
Riding on a horse and doesn't really do much.
No.
Well,
the horse whinnies a lot.
Yeah, the horse whinnies and bucks a wee bit.
The Angel of Death does nothing.
They ain't yet.
Yes.
But he just kind of annoys them with his horse, hoping that'll get like you're the Angel of Death. This is I don't know, set the room on fire.
Kill Peggy and the butler.
And yeah, to really top off his appearance, he pulls off his mask while in front of affected blue screen.
Yeah, they did not finish the effect.
And
so it's a skull in front of blue.
It's just a skull
in a little helmet.
Wearing a chainmail. Just in front of blue.
Yeah.
And my thing was, why was that even on a blue screen? You had the guy, you had the room.
Yeah, just bring
a skull.
Yeah. I guess they probably thought, oh, this needs more impact.
We'll add something later. Whoa.
Yeah, and then forgot. And they run the footage back and forth, which looks terrible.
Yeah. So
it's kind of, it goes up, then they reverse it, and then it goes up and down. I don't know if that would have passed in the 60s, but it's so glaringly obvious.
Yeah.
Like, to modernize.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I think that would have just been glanced over from a 60s audience.
Yeah, maybe.
So Simon starts freaking out, and how do we deal with Simon when he freaks out, Donald?
Yeah, punch the fuck out of him.
Once. Only once. Never more than once. He never takes more than one. So with the Angel of Death there, Christopher Lee brings up the magic words, which he's never mentioned before, that he can never say, ever.
Can never say.
Don't ever say the magic words. So 30 seconds later, he says the magic word. So he basically says, I can't use the magic words because it'll unravel time and space.
Yeah.
Then he says the magic words and nothing
Angel
happens.
Death fucks off.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Angel Death, like the camera cuts and then the Angel Death just isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. That's banished, Donald. Banished.
Yeah. But with no effect. That's the only thing.
No. Donald would run. As you can see by the blue screen, would run out of effect money by the time.
Yeah, I do wonder if maybe they were supposed to do something with that skeleton faced rider superimposed, but they ran out of time to do that as well. Do you know what I mean?
Because it's going to be on fire.
Because it's a shot of Christopher Lee in the left quarter of the screen and lots of empty space, but there's nothing there.
Yeah. So he says the words, nothing happens, But we do find out that Peggy's gone.
Yep.
Peggy has been taken.
Yeah, because they didn't try and protect her in any capacity.
No. The guy was there. He was fine. He would have got it.
He wasn't fine.
No,
he was
she wasn't
overpowered or succumbed to mesmerism or whatever.
But we also find out that the price for him saying the magic words was the death of Tanith, which Rex comes carrying her body in. And yes, just in case people are wondering, nothing happens in between her hypnotizing him and making him untie her and fall asleep and her dying. She doesn't escape to do anything. She looks out the window of the barn, then dies. You're up to date. So she's dead, and they do a seance, summoning to get Tanith to possess Marie, Christopher Lee's niece.
Yeah.
And I feel they kind of waste this opportunity to a certain extent, and then Rex is just useless and ruins the whole thing. But they do get what they need out.
But he's too full of love.
Fuck off. Yeah, because it's the man he loves. The woman.
They just need to know. They just need to know where she's been taken. That's all.
Yeah.
Simon's fucked off at this point.
Yeah.
The little Weasley bastard that he is.
Yeah. He woke up while they were distracted by Peggy. And Simon makes his way back to the cult for the final ritual. And at this point I got confused because a lot of people call Simon son throughout the movie, including Blofeld at this point. And I was like, wait, but they knew his dad. Nah.
Maybe no.
So I think it was just the term a lot of the older people use, but it's just like, I was just like,
maybe they were just saying Simon weird.
Simon. So Simon, wants the girl to be okay and will do whatever, but then he's like, Blofeld's like, nah, we're gonna kill her and you're gonna be part of it. And then Simon kind of just has to go along with it.
All right.
Okay. So they prepare for the sacrifice of Peggy, at which point our 4 heroes, the Eatons, Nicholas and Rex, arrive to disrupt the ceremony. At this point, it's just Deus Ex Machina everywhere. Marie gets possessed by Tanith, God, the Angel of Death. But whatever she does, she just walks up and saves the day. None of the cult members try and stop her. She just walks over and they cower. And then she sets the place on fire.
Yeah, there's like lightning.
Yeah, there's a strike of lightning and she sets the place on fire. While the 6 good Simon gets another reprieve.
Yeah.
6 heroes just stand in an unburning corner and watch
averting their eyes
and watch
the cult members all get burnt alive.
Yeah, including Blofeld, Makata, who dies on blue screen as there's flames behind him, and he just kind of looks behind. We only see the top half of him. He looks behind him and then just kind of flops on the floor.
Yeah,
that's his death scene. So yeah, everything burns, and all of a sudden our heroes are back in the circle. Time was reversed, and the future was changed in their favour. Simon and Tanith are totally fine. They're all back home. Makata's spell to conjure the Angel of Death has been reflected back on him, and because the Angel of Death requires a soul, Makata is now dead.
Yes.
That is basically what I've just done, is basically how Nicholas sums up the events.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then credits.
The only reason any of this happens is so that Tanith can come back to life, really.
Yeah.
So that her and Rex can live happily ever after.
He literally says at the end, it is to God whom they should be thankful. Then credits.
Do they address why they know about it?
No, they don't know about it. Nicholas knows about it.
No, but how come they remember? Oh, do they not remember? Nicholas remembers?
No, I think they just remember. I think it's just they just remember. Maybe the cult members remember too. Maybe they're like,
Yeah,
fuck, better turn this round. But yeah, Nicholas literally, like, they go, what happened? And Nicholas goes, here's a brief summary of all the events, credits.
Hold on, I'm going to get out a blackboard and chalk. Now, bear with me on this one.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally a minute of talking head, Christopher Lee.
Quick, we've got to wrap all this up.
Yeah,
Quick.
Christopher Lee telling you the end of the movie. And, like, I was so blown away by how abruptly this movie ends. And that's, yeah.
That's a succinct, unsuccinct summary of The Devil Rides Out, I'd say.
Yep, pretty much.
So, Hammer Horror. The reason that we're spending 2 episodes in England, spoilers for the future episode, the reason we're doing that is we felt that going over a Hammer Horror really it would be remiss not to. But we also wanted to go over a newer film, which we'll do next episode. So, Hammer Horror, it's a British institution. It's totally synonymous with horror, as in, Hammer is just a production studio, but whenever you say
they're called Hammer Films Productions.
Yeah, but you say Hammer Horror now, they do other films still, but they've researched and done horror films, but when you think Hammer, you have to think horror. And they basically, the films they made from the 50s to the 70s, a lot of them are classic British horror movies now.
Starring Christopher Lee.
A lot of them start. Yeah. They reuse a lot of the same actors. Yeah, they have a stable of actors that are
Oliver Reed.
Yeah, they are synonymous with Hammer Horror. They are synonymous with Hammer as horror kind of thing. You can't have one without the other. They kind of all make each other kind of great in a way. So I was trying to find out, like, to our eyes, this movie is not scary. No. There was the bit at the start in Simon's apartment, that was kind of sinister when they go in and the lights turn down the demon's a little bit sinister, but when he actually appears, I was like, all right, I'm not going to find this scary. Up until that point, I was like, oh, this is kind of a little bit creepy, it's a little bit sinister. So it does have like an atmosphere of horror, but it's not actually scary to modern audience doing. So I was trying to find out more about like what they thought about the time. So before they did this movie, back in the 50s, they were doing, did you ever hear of Quatermass?
Nope.
It's a pretty famous kind of like sci-fi horror thing. I actually do mean to watch it. So that's how they got their big break. And apparently some of that stuff is still excellent. Really low budget though, so it's probably hard to watch nowadays. So they released a movie called Quatermass Experiment. The experiment is spelled X, letter X, periment, to cash in on the X rating of films. And I was like, that's so 90s. They then submitted a script for a film called X, The Unknown. They were really bigging up the rated X thing at the time. And a censor said, no one can say customers won't have had their money's worth by now. In fact, someone will almost certainly have been sick. We must have a great deal more restraint and much more done by onlookers' reactions instead of by shots of pulsating obscenity, hideous scars, hideous sightless faces, etc., etc. It is keeping on in the same vein that makes this script so outrageous. They must take it away and prune. Before they take it away, however, I think the president of the BBFC should read it. I have a stronger stomach than the average for viewing purposes, and I perhaps ought to be reacting more strongly. And then they made Curse of Frankenstein, which was their big, like, kind of, that started the gothic horror thing. It had Peter Cushing in it, Christopher Lee, directed by Terence Fisher, who directed this film. Terence Fisher was one of the directors who did a lot of their big stuff, and he was pushing the boundaries of horror for the time. But the way he did that was with like bosoms that were kind of pushed, kind of slightly erotic things that nowadays are not erotic at all, and like visual gore, but it's actually just red blood. Like blood that's actually the color red, not blood that's, black because it was filmed in black and white. So even seeing that kind of stuff in color was shocking. So a critic for The Observer said of Curse and Frankenstein, described it as among the half dozen most repulsive films I have encountered. It's just like, just for the fact that seeing blood. So I think this one's probably the same way. Like, see the stuff with the goat and stuff and all that stuff. Probably was really fucking shocking. But imagine if they'd seen like Martyrs or a Serbian film. Like nowadays, we can't approach this as anything other than hopefully entertaining, schlocky kind of fun. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just crazy.
And I mean, even if you're not talking about like, I mean, you could look at something like The Witch, like which has its moments of gore or Like they'd think it was a documentary.
It is crazy. I mean, the Exorcist. I mean, so this is 1968. So The Exorcist was around the same time as well. So some films do still hold up in terms of scares, but I think it's the films that tried to go for more lurid kind of shocking gore. Yeah. I mean, you know, kind of like your Hostels of the day. Those are the ones that really don't work anymore in terms of fright kind of thing. So, so Terence Fisher directed Curse of Frankenstein. He kept working with the studio. They made a lot of hits. Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing. Devil Rides Out was one of his last films because he was actually involved in a car accident during post-production, which might actually explain why some of the effects are unfinished. Because he literally couldn't finish the film. He was really badly hurt, so he had to recover for a long time. He made one film after, and I think that was him. He was done forever, kind of thing.
Wow.
So maybe, I don't know. I never actually thought that till I was just talking about it just now, but it would actually make sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The film's based on a book. Have you read the book?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, me too. It's great, isn't it?
So we don't need to talk about it.
So the book's author, Dennis Wheatley, was a direct inspiration on Ian Fleming creating James Bond. I didn't know that before watching the film, but you really do get a sense of that. I mean, but the film was made obviously after James Bond was a thing, so it's probably kind of the books led to, like, you know, influence the films of James Bond, which then influenced this film. But I did totally get like a cool kind of James Bond secret agent vibe off the Duke pretty much the whole time through it. Just because he's so, just because of the way he kind of commands himself, and obviously he's just physically and kind of his personality wise, he's very intimidating to all the other characters, and he always seems to kind of know what's going on. You know, he doesn't get made a fool of or anything like that. He's always kind of one step ahead in terms of, I know exactly what's going on right now, and I'm gonna have to explain it to everyone else, or I'm just gonna have to handle this by punching Simon or something like that.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads on to the review of the film. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think that a lot comes back to what you were saying about the era and what you go into this movie looking for in 2020.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah. Is it an enjoyable film to watch? Not, is it a good horror movie to watch now?
Yeah, totally. There were bits of it that was a struggle. Again,
oh, really?
I struggle with older movies, but I think that with this, because it is so over the top, it works for me. Yeah. It's just those slower moments that 1960s movies tend to have, and I
think it's got a good pace to it, though. I mean, it's 90 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say probably better than. I know what you mean, but I think this movie gets away with it because I'd be the same.
Clips along better.
Yeah, it does have moments of, but hopefully, so like the Rex Tanith stuff is kind of like, right, check out for this. But I mean, if Christopher Lee's on screen, he can kind of carry it off, kind of thing.
Oh yeah. As I said, the performances of Christopher Lee and Charles Gray are great. Just like this is obviously not the best movies either of them have been in, but they go into it with full gusto and absolutely nail their parts. I got quite a few laughs out of it. Obviously, it's just
it's kind of
can't not. Yeah, but no, I think it works well for what it is. As you said, that demon with the eyes isn't scary. It was unsettling.
I find that jarring.
Yeah,
because it was the first special. It was the first special effect of the movie, and I was just like, oh.
Yeah, it wasn't that I was actually, creeped out by it, but I thought it was a lot better than I expected it to be. It brought a lot of its effect with very little actually happening. Yeah, but yeah, it was goofy fun. Would I recommend this over any other kind of movie within this genre, that kind of schlocky old horror? Probably not. There's probably better ones. But if you're just looking for a full-on Christopher Lee, and I mean, it's Christopher Lee, one, as a good guy, and two, with the best beard I've ever seen in my life.
This movie is touted as one of the better Hammer horrors to introduce yourself to because it's kind of got a fun pace for modern audiences, and I kind of agree with that. It is kind of, even though it's not your it's not your classic Hammer horror movie in terms of it's not got Dracula or Frankenstein or anything like that in it. It's not gothic. It's not like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of different. Christopher Lee said it was his favorite of all the Hammer horror movies.
Wow.
It seems like an enjoyable role to play, and I think he got absolutely sick of playing Dracula and started phoning it in because they kept dragging him back. So yeah, it might be understandable why he liked this one.
Yeah, it's one of the things that is nice about it, you know, compared to movies, as you said, of that ilk, is it is a relative. I know it's just about devil worship, but it's a relatively original story.
Although I think it was schlocky too. See, the opening with the like lurid green and red satanic imagery, I thought actually
fantastic.
I was like, you don't get that even nowadays.
Yeah.
Like full on Aleister Crowley style. Makata is obviously inspired by Aleister Crowley. Full on satanic stuff and dramatic strings and orchestral music and stuff. I was like, this is pretty good.
No,
like,
totally.
right off the bat.
You'd mentioned it earlier, and we wanted to come back to it. But yeah, it's that opening is possibly the best part of the movie. It would
very cool.
It would hold up nowadays in a horror movie.
Yeah, I think so.
100%.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely like very progressive for the time.
Yeah. You know what you're getting in for. Satan!
Yeah, totally. And like as you're saying of like what people were accustomed to, I mean, we're 20 years away from the scale of the, you know, satanic music in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like I think that would have had an impact.
I think it would have been pretty bloody jarring.
No, a really great opening credits.
Yeah.
Opening, whatever it's called.
Opening.
An opening. But the last 10 minutes completely falls apart for me. They just pulled an ending right out of their arse.
It does make me wonder how the book ended. But I'm not going to go read it. I did really enjoy it. Like, I think it's the kind of film you could probably watch this in a group kind of thing if you're kind of up for a bit of a laugh, because a lot of bits are funny.
Yeah.
No, not to take away from it, because it's enjoyable, like it's fun. I kind of look at this movie more like Brendan Fraser's The Mummy, kind of just a fun adventure kind of thing. Yeah. And then you get to laugh at the giant tarantula and the Angel of Death and stuff like that. But then you get Christopher Lee being an absolute badass, and you get the goat of mending.
Yeah.
You know, the stuntman who did that, ripped stuntman, he was the alien in Alien.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? It's so weird.
So there was it was one thing I you know, when looking at this movie, it was obviously to try and get an idea of the time. So other movies that came out in 1968, Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Oliver.
So Rosemary's Baby being released the same year and covering similar stuff but in a totally different style. Yeah,
and that's why with a lot of these movies, I feel like, or at least with that era of movie, they were kind of in that in between period. Like, I would call 2001: A Space Odyssey modern cinema.
Yeah,
I would call what we just watched classic cinema.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah,
exactly. They've got a feel to them. They've got a look to them.
Yeah,
and obviously they're set like 100 years apart. But you know, it is a very much a
less of a stage play kind of thing.
Exactly. No, that is an excellent way to put it. And it is that break away from that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is definitely under that classic cinema feel.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're definitely going to have a laugh. You're gonna. It's a romp. Yeah.
If you're interested
by today's standards,
yeah, I think it is recommended as a Hammer horror movie to dip your toe in for a reason. Like, because it's easy to watch. It's not. You can just stick it on, and if you know, you'll be looking out for that kind of stuff anyway. If you're interested in Hammer horror, because you should know what you're getting in for, which is cheesy stuff by modern standards. But yeah, I think it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's still a horror.
Oh, it is a horror. There's no like ups or downs about it. It is a horror movie. It's different from what we're used to now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that kind of it's probably one of the last kind of remnants of that kind of, you know, your Bela Lugosi period, your Christopher Lee period.
Well, I mean, like I say, the director was involved in that.
Two more.
bad accident. He did one film after, which wasn't, I don't think it was anywhere near as well received. So it really was kind of the end of a lot of that stuff. I don't think the Hammer Studios carried on for a bit, but I mean, I think it shut its doors in the 70s, so, and didn't come back till
a couple years
last
ago.
decade. Well, they did Let Me In and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
Let Me In and Women in Black.
Yeah, and they did that one with, I'm sure Christopher Lee's in it, and it's like a woman in an apartment or something like that. I never actually watched it, but... So yeah, this is kind of like towards the end.
2007 they came back.
Yeah. And they still seem to be doing good, which is nice.
Yeah, they seem to, I mean, Let Me In was a great movie.
Yeah.
And I am not usually a fan of remakes.
Yeah.
Especially of foreign, like, I don't like Old Boy remake.
No one liked that.
Rec. No, but
that's right. Well,
the Rec remake. No
Rec
one
and
liked
Quarantine.
That.
I get what you mean.
They've got really bad track records for redoing movies.
Yeah.
What about you? Any more thoughts on it?
I think I would watch it as it's hard because when I say watch it with friends, usually that's reserved for stuff like just the shittest films ever. But it's not shit when I say you could probably have a fun time watching it with friends and doing a drink every time someone gets punched and stuff like that. There's a great drinking game in this film somewhere. I probably would have had... I was actually like having a giggle to myself watching it at times, but in a fun way. And like I came out of it being like, yeah, I like that film. I didn't think that film was pathetic or, just trying and failing. It's just got contrivances of the era kind of thing. I'd totally give it a break. And oh god, yeah, I was meaning to mention this. They used 3 tarantulas. Okay.
Wow.
First one died because the studio lights were too hot. Second one was brought in to shoot the sequence, and then they brought in a third that they said had already died, and then they poured acid on it.
Oh, come on.
So the melting spider is actually a melting spider.
but already dead.
Yeah. It died of a heart attack probably or something like that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean though. See how you go, oh no. Back in the 60s, you would have been like, good, kill them all.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I found that entire scene adorable. Like that spider is scared at some points, trying to like intimidate the camera, but you can see quite clearly it's a tiny little spider.
Well, now you get to know that spider that you think is tiny and cute is dead. I mean, he was always going to be dead. It was 68.
Oh, I'm like, what?
There was also a subplot in the novel where Satanists wanted to start a world war by getting the talisman of Set. Do you know what the talisman of Set is?
Only in broad terms.
If broad terms is a good way to say it. It's a mummified penis. And the Duke destroys it at the end. But for some reason, they thought maybe the censors might have a problem with that. So they left it out the film. I really wish they had kept it in. I actually think that this film, funny you mentioned remakes, you could probably remake this into a pretty fucking scary film. Like,
yeah.
I can't...
Oh, yeah.
There's not a lot of instances of Satan on the screen. Well, like actual Satan. And the ones that are nowadays are all like smooth suit wearers. Like Christopher Lee looks. That's what Satan looks like nowadays.
Yeah.
Like giving us a sinister goat of Mendes Satan could be really scary if someone's skillful enough to pull it off.
So you liked the Duc de Richelieu?
Yeah.
Richelieu?
Of course I did.
Well, he is a character in 11 novels.
I've not read them.
No?
Do you know Richard Matheson wrote this movie? Which initially I was like, what the hell? Because he's the I Am Legend novelist. But then he wrote loads of stuff. He wrote loads of episodes of Twilight Zone, including the William Shatner gremlin on the wing of the plane thing. Wow. I had no idea. Yeah.
So you're not going to go and read the extended adventures of...
No.
Not even in such such books as Dangerous Inheritance?
What? That sounds like a Steven Seagal movie from nowadays.
Dangerous Inheritance, Strange Conflict.
Oh my god.
The Golden Spaniard.
No, I might read The Golden Spaniard.
I mean, here are two that are, I feel, at the complete opposite ends of what I would expect these books to be. We have Code Word Golden Fleece and Gateway to Hell.
That's so, yeah, because the first one sounds like a spy thriller.
Yeah, they sound like
and the
a mixture,
second one sounds like this.
Yeah, they sound like a mixture between spy thrillers and devil worship. But my favourite one, Donald, that I might just have to read, Three Inquisitive People.
It's called Three Inquisitive People.
Yeah.
What is the plot summary of Three?
I don't have nothing on it. I have nothing on it. Oh, wait. The Modern Musketeers were formed from a group of three inquisitive people who met in November 1931. De Richelieu's three new friends were Simon Arryn, we know him.
Oh, nice.
A left-leaning Anglo-Jewish banker.
Okay, I didn't get that from...
and partner in Schrochild Brothers. Aviator... Rex Macintosh Van Ryn. He's an aviator. He's
his
an
middle
aviator.
name's Macintosh?
Yeah, and he's also a pilot. The athletic son of de Richelieu's old American friend Channick Van Ryn. Oh, right, yeah. That's Rex's son. And Richard Eaton. We've met him.
Oh.
A conservative Englishman and publisher.
Oh, that does sound quite appealing.
Doesn't it?
A little bit.
So we go from Three Inquisitive People, the Modern Musketeers, straight into the forbidden territory of Soviet prison camps. Rex gets imprisoned in Siberia. The Duke killed a man following them, and having freed Rex, was arrested near Romanovsk.
Maybe I've got to read one of these.
You've got to read one of these.
They sound fun. See, it depends if they are as, rollicking good times as the film was.
I mean, they made 11 of them.
Oh, God. I've got too much to read.
Before adding the 11 books. All created by one person. Oh, wow. Sorry. What? One more thing. I hovered over one of the author's other books, not create. There's another series called the He wrote a lot, by the way. Gregory Salist series. It's called They Used Dark Forces, and the cover is a goat's head with a swastika above it.
Oh my good Christ. What's it called again?
They used dark forces.
Oh no. German superweapon. Oh man. Oh, that could be fun.
Hypnotism in Hitler's bunker.
Oh god.
I mean, by the way, that's the second last book in a series of 1, 2, 3, 11 again.
Wait. He also wrote. So he wrote the Gregory Salist Chronicles as well. Is that?
Yeah, as well as the Julian Day novels, the Roger Brooks series, historical non-fictions, war papers and autobiographies, private printings, other occult novels. That's The Haunting of Toby Jug.
Why did he write so fucking much?
Oh my god! The Haunting of Toby Jug was turned into 2006 psychological thriller starring your friend and mine, Robert Pattinson.
What?
It was first aired on BBC 4. We might have our next watch.
The Haunted Airman. Oh god, he's
Pattinson,
full on Twilight.
Yeah, Pattinson
starring
is fine.
Twilight's Robert Pattinson.
Pattinson is fine. He does what he always does, broods. He also smokes a lot of cigarettes while brooding.
Oh dear.
I might need to watch this.
You're not gonna watch this. You're not gonna watch this any more than I'm gonna fucking read all these
I'm
books.
more likely to watch this.
Hey, track 10 of the soundtrack, Spiders. I was about to say that normally at this point of the show we would discuss alternative reviews and viewpoints. However, because this is an old film and seen as a classic, there aren't really... The reviews are basically either this is a classic with obvious trappings of the time, or this is a steaming pile of shit that's not scary, which I understand the viewpoint, but I don't think it's worth particularly, going over. Would you agree?
No, I'm not here. I don't look into those so that I can find to shit on people's opinions. I do it because people are insane, and I
Yeah,
love
exactly.
reading their reviews.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and there's not a lot of that.
Yeah,
It's
there's
more just
absolutely,
people who maybe went to this not realizing what they might be getting themselves in for, which is
it's all
fun schluck.
fair enough opinions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's fine. So, as discussed, we're staying local, staying in England. Not going to make a habit of this. I don't think. Maybe we will. Fuck it. If I find 2 movies from Slovakia that are both good, we'll have 2 episodes. Fuck you.
Yeah.
But next episode, we want to showcase a newer film from England, which is Possum, directed by Matthew Holness.
I'd say I'm looking forward to that one, but I have to stick in England for another week.
Oh, no.
Whoa,
when we came
I get
to England,
to be...
remember we were going to be frenemies? We were going to leave
you're
all
the friend,
past
I'm the enemy.
prejudices. Shh. I think they can hear me, the glampers.
Oh,
I
God.
laughed too hard.
Oh, God. Wait, quick. Take a selfie. Right, we need to go. We'll see you all next
How
week.
do you take a selfie?
I don't know. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I'm going to take a moment to eat these nachos that Emily just handed me.
Oh, yeah. Get to the important stuff. Oh, my God. It's like ASMR.